weight and transmit the load to underlying soil or rock. So its main function kibali is to transfer main function niya is to transfer the load sa structure, weight of columns, beams, slabs, walls o mga live loads safely sa soil or rock beneath without causing settlement or failure. So in short, kibali mo siya bridge between the structure and the ground. So if ang foundation is dili siya properly designed, even the strongest building above it can experience cracks. Or like mag-tilt siya or even collapse. So this is why foundation engineering is considered one of the most critical aspects of civil engineering. So types of foundations. So naay duha types of foundations, shallow foundations o deep foundations. So, shallow foundations, kani ang mga foundations that are placed at a relatively small depth below the ground surface. So they are used when the soil near the surface has enough bearing capacity to support the loads. Ang kaning deep foundations, mo ang mga foundations nga nag-extend much deeper into the ground and are used when the surface soils are weak or compressible and strong soil or rock exists at greater depths. So naay 4 types of shallow foundations, spread footings, combined footings, tree footing, and mat or shafts foundations. For the deep foundations na itulo, driven piles, drilled shafts, and auger cast piles. So diri sa sa shallow foundation. So it is a type of foundation nga nagtransfer og structural loads to the soil at a relatively small depth compared sa foundation's width. The depth of the foundation is generally less or equal sa iyahang width. So ang characteristics aning sa shallow foundation is na siya usually ang depth niya is 3 to 4 meters ang kabaga depth. 3 to 4 meters. So sometimes deeper pagid if surface soils are strong. So economical and simpler to construct compared sa deep foundation. And it is also suitable for mga low to mid-rise nga buildings, bridges, retaining walls o uban pa nga mga structure where ang soil condition are good near the surface. So, naay advantages o limitations. Sa kaning advantages, paspas ba kay ko? I think paspas. Na lang ako gamay. So, kaning advantages, ang shallow foundations manggod kay widely used sa construction because sa ilahang simplicity o cost effectiveness. So, they are generally easy to design or build, which makes them a practical choice for small to medium-sized nga mga buildings such as balay, eskwelahan, o mga uban low-rise nga structures. And since ang loads is dili kayo dagko, so ang construction process is require og less heavy equipment compared sa deep foundations. Like kanang mga piles, which makes the work faster o less expensive. Mao na ang shallow foundations kay muna sila often ang first option considered sa projects where ang soil duol sa surface kay naay good nga strength. However, napud ang shallow foundations again napud na siya limitations. So, dili lang na sila suitable kung ang structure is mo carry og very heavy loads or ang soil duol sa surface is kanang weak ra kaayo og cannot safely support the weight. So, they are also more vulnerable to soil settlement, especially kung ang ground is mo compress unevenly, which can lead to cracks or tilting sa structure. So, in addition po sa iyang limitations, dili lang sila recommended sa mga areas kung ang groundwater table niya is taas kaayo. Since ang water kay maka-weak sa soil and reduce its bearing capacity. So similarly, soils that are very compressible, like mga soft clay or mga kanang saturated na kayo siya nga soil may cause the building to sink or move over if only a shallow foundation is used. So na again no, na types of shallow foundations na to upat. So first, diri sa ta sa spread footing or isolated footing. So spread footing, also called an isolated footing, is designed to support a single column. It is the simplest type of footing where the base is made wide enough so that the load from the column is distributed safely onto the soil below. So ang footing is usually square or rectangular in shape and thicker at the center to resist bending. So kaning type of shallow foundation is commonly used gina siya sa mga residential houses, small offices, and light commercial structures where ang iyang load is moderate and ang iyang columns are spaced far apart. So, for example, kanin sa picture no, recently lang nagsabay kog inspection sa akong father dito sa Dahilayan. Ang building ani is man siya hotel and grun nga hotel. So like sa inspection is nay duha ka buok footing. And then there is a footing kay almost na gid siya almost na siya mag-overlap kibali. But mo kibali ni ang kaning spread footing or isolated footing kay basically ang gina-carry ra sa footing is isa ra ka column. Kibali ang kung ikuan pa nato na kay tagsa-tagsa, isa ka footing, isa ka column, no? So basta mo na siya ang spread footing ug isolated footing. There is a combined footing. So a combined footing is used when two or more columns are so close to each other that ilahang mga spread footings would otherwise overlap. So instead of giving each column its own footing, they share a larger base. So kibale, ang shape is magdepende na siya on how the loads are distributed. So if ang loads are equal, a rectangular footing is enough. Or if loads is kanang differ siya, and then ang one column is doon na gid siya sa property line, so ayan na din na makuan ang trapezoidal footing, which is used to balance the pressure sa soil. So ang kaning combined footings is often din siya ginagamit sa mga urban projects where space is restricted, such as ang mga column is doon na kaayo sa boundary sa property and ang footing is dili mo maka-extend beyond the lot line. So kaning combined footing ensures nga ang structural loads are balanced without encroaching on neighboring land. So nakita ninyo diri, do nakuha na ako sa internet no, kay wala pa I think wala pa nakuan mong dito sa ground, wala pa na simentuhan ang katong ilahang combined footing. So mo ni ang combined footing no, kung dili na gani siya makaya og kanang i-isolated footing siya, so i-combine footing na lang nato siya. Kay again, if ato ning i-isolate, mag-overlap ang footing. So although if makaya pa gani siya og if makaya pa og isolate ang footing, kibali if makaya pag mahimo og isolated footing siya, so mas maayo kay if makaya pa gani, then imo na siyang gi-combine. Ang nakaano man gud sa combined is mas mahal. Nganong mas mahal? Kay madubli ang iyahang kabilya. Madubli ang kabilya. Not dili pares if isolated footing na siya, dili ra madubli. Kay kani man good again no, duha iyang two or more nga columns ang iyahang carry. So kaning strip footing. So a strip footing is a long continuous footing that supports a wall or a row of closely spaced columns. So instead of isolated bases for each support, the load is distributed along a strip of concrete. So, ang strip footing is mo na siya basically mo na gini siya ang wall footing. So strip footing is this also the same as wall footing. Kaya ang footing is a continuous strip of concrete that runs under a load-bearing wall or a row of closely spaced columns. So ang purpose ani is to distribute the wall's load evenly to the soil beneath. So since ang ginakuan niya ani is ang load sa dingding, so of course, basically murag gini siya, ay dili siya murag pero mo na gini siya ang matawag nato nga wall footing. And then last type of shallow foundation is mat or raft footing. So a mat or raft foundation is like a big concrete slab that covers the entire footprint of the building instead of individual footings under each column, and the entire structure floats on one large foundation. So kani mat or raft foundation ay footing kibali ga-reduce ni siya kanang soil pressure and makaatawang po ni siya avoid sa excessive settlement. Ang mat foundation or ang mat or rough foundations are used when soil near the surface is weak or compressible and when loads are very heavy such as sa mga kanang high-rise nga buildings, basements, or mga industrial facilities with heavy equipment. So, kibali, an everyday example would be large commercial complexes or hospitals built on soft clay. So, dire, using individual footings would cause uneven settlement. Pero ang mat foundation is mo spread ang load evenly. No? Muna siya ang example of the mat or raft foundation. Now, there is a deep foundation. So, it is a type of foundation that transfers structural loads to deeper, stronger soil or rock layers when the surface soils are too weak, compressible, or unstable to support the structure. So, ang deep foundation is, unlike sa shallow nga foundation, no, which spread the load near the surface, ang deep foundations bypass poor soils o carry loads down to depths where the ground can safely resist them. So ang characteristics kibali aning sa deep foundation is ang iyang depth is usually much greater than the width. So mga piles gyud na siya, no? And it is used when the topsoil has low bearing capacity or high nga compressibility. So, sa deep foundations, no, napoy advantages and napoy limitations. So, for the deep advantages sa advantages sa deep foundations is that na siya several important advantages nga naka-make o kanang suitable for large o heavy nga mga structures. So, first, maka-carry gid sila very heavy loads sa buildings like high-rise towers, bridges, ug industrial facilities. And kibali loads nga mga shallow foundations is dili na sila makasupport. Also, effective gyapon na siya in areas where ang surface soil is weak or compressible. Since ang deep foundations manggod kay mo na siya mo transfers the load down to stronger soil or rock layers found at greater depths. And another key advantage is that they provide resistance against lateral forces such as winds, earthquakes, or water pressure, or other mga lateral loads. So, ang deep foundations also have versatile applications because ginagamit na sila not only sa land but also sa mga marine or offshore nga structures like mga piers, ports, oil platforms where ang kanang shallow foundations is impractical na. And lastly is makatabang sila reduce sa settlement problems since ang load is supported by deeper, more stable ground and minimizing the risk of uneven settlement. nga maka-cause og damage sa structure. So, however, it also has a limitations. Usually, mas mahal gid sila kaysa sa shallow foundations because ga-require sila og more materials, equipment, labor, o mga specialized nga equipment. So, ang construction is more complex kibali, often requiring skilled workers and heavy nga machinery. So, such as mga pile drivers and drilling rigs. So, mistakes during installation can significantly reduce their effectiveness. Also, they tend to be time-consuming, especially sa mga large projects with many piles or mga dagan piles gyud. And another challenge is ang iyahang quality control. Since most sa mga construction is below ground, it is difficult to inspect and ensure nga ang piles or ang iyang shafts have been constructed properly. And finally, deep foundations may create environmental concerns as pile driving and drilling can cause noise, vibrations, and disturbance in surrounding areas, especially sa urban settings. So, dirita sa types of deep foundations. First type is the driven piles. So, driven piles are long, slender columns made of precast concrete, steel, or timber that are hammered into the ground using pile driving equipment. So, they work by transferring loads either through end bearing where the pile tip rests on a firm soil or rock layer, or through friction where the sides of the pile grip the surrounding soil to carry the load. So ang driven piles kibali is widely used sa construction projects like mga bridging, ports, and high-rise buildings. So as you can see there is a picture, amo ni siya ang pagkuan sa driven piles. So kibali gina-hammer down na ang iyahang piles paubos. So not unlike sa sa drilled shafts. So sa drilled shafts, also called caissons, are constructed by drilling large deep holes into the ground and then filling them with reinforced concrete. Unlike sa driven piles, which are hammered, drilled shafts are created in place and can have much larger diameters, allowing them to carry very heavy loads. So, commonly used for mga high-rise towers, stadiums, or mga bridges kung ang structure require og enormous nga support. Since ang shaft is mo extend man na siya deep into stable soil or rock, so ga-provide gina siya excellent nga load carrying capacity og stability. However, ang construction process is more time-consuming lang siya and requires specialized equipment, but it is very effective o effective sa massive structures. So there is a picture, as you can see. Ang giuna is gidrill niya ang hole, and then next is gi-place niya ang pile inside sa recoverable form pipe, and then placing the steel reinforcement ay nagbutang og concrete, then ay gitangtang ang giporma nga pipe. So again gidrill, tapos gibutangan og pormado na nga pipe, then gibut nga steel reinforcement ay nagbutang sa concrete, then ay dayon gi-remove ang formed pipe. So lahi po diri sa auger cast piles. So these are made by drilling into the ground with a hollow stem auger, a screw-like tool. So as the auger is withdrawn, concrete is pumped through the hollow center to fill the hole. And reinforcement may be added afterwards. So this method is especially popular sa mga urban areas because it produces less noise and vibration compared to driven piles, making it suitable for construction near existing buildings. So ang auger cast piles is widely used for mga mid-rise o high-rise nga buildings. retaining structures, and industrial facilities. So particularly when soil conditions require deeper support, but ang site environment is galimit lang siya use of noisy equipment. So there is a picture, gidrill siya una, and then as gina-withdraw dayon ang iyahang ang drill is gibutangan din og cement. Aya din gibutangan og steel reinforcement. So different siya sa kuan no sa drilled shafts. Kibali ang giuna niya is ang like aside sa kanang drill and sa pipe, giuna niya ang steel reinforcement ay ang concrete. And diri sa other cast pile is unang butang ang concrete ay ang steel reinforcements. Okay? Gets? Proceed. Okay, proceed. So what makes a good foundation? So muna yung question, what makes a good foundation? Of course, kailangan siya safe kay ang good foundation dapat gina-ensure na siya ang safety sa structure by preventing collapse or failure. So it should transfer loads sa mga soil without exceeding the soil's bearing capacity. In simple terms, it dapat keep the building standing strong or even during extreme conditions like storms or earthquakes. And of course, dapat siya reliable. Basically, ang foundation, it is the base of the structure. So, kung dili pa lang reliable ang foundation daan nimo, then what will happen sa structure? Nagay possibility nga ma-damage siya. So reliability means nga ang foundation performs consistently over time. Dapat behave siya as expected under different load conditions and should not cause unexpected nga settlement or mga structural problems. Okay, engineers ga-design ang foundations to be reliable so that ang owners ug mga occupants is naay confident pod sa building sa stability sa building. Then third is dapat durable. So durability ensures lahi ng durable o buildable. So durability ensures that the foundation is maka-withstand siya sa environmental effects such as sa groundwater, chemical reactions sa soil, o changes sa weather over many years. Okay. Magdugay ba gid ng building dapat. So a durable foundation does not weaken quickly. It should last as long as the building itself without needing major repairs. So also next dapat buildable pud siya. The foundation should not only be strong but also dapat practical sa construct with the available materials, equipment o technology. So even the best designs is useless if it is too complicated or impossible to build on site. So buildability considers local conditions, cost of construction, and ease of execution. And lastly, a good foundation is also economical dapat. Kay it should not be over-designed. Okay, of course, kung over-design mo, mahal din ang mga materials. And expensive na po kasi sa mga load nga gina-carry. So, nor under-design po dapat kay, of course, if under-design na po siya, so, meaning, it's not safe. Kay, mas dako pa ang gina-carry nimo dapat, pero ang design niya is gamay pa sa gina-carry nga load dapat. So, ang goal is to strike the right balance between safety, durability, o cost para ang project is both affordable o sustainable. Now, narito ka ng kuan na ta kadyot sa index properties of soils. By the way, walay questions regarding sa katong introduction nato sa foundation. And so far, proceed ko. Yes. Okay. None for me. Okay. So index properties of soil. So index properties of soil are the basic physical characteristics used to identify, classify, and describe different types of soil. So kaning nga mga properties is dili na siya directly measure strength or stability, but they tell us how the soil will likely behave. So especially in terms of moisture content, grain size, o iyang consistency. So So, ang kaning properties is dili siya direct indicator sa soil strength or load-bearing capacity, but ga-provide gyapon sila og kanang essential insights sa, again, no, how the soil will behave under varying environmental o loading conditions. So, in essence, ga-serve ni sila as kibali vital signs sa soil, which offers a valuable information sa pagdiagnose o preliminary assessment, much like murag kanang doktor bang ga-check og temperature or blood pressure nga na. So before recommending treatment kibali, so among the key index properties is again water content, specific gravity, grain size distribution, o consistency limits such as the Atterberg limits, ng mga liquid limit, plastic limit, and shrinkage limit. Diba na nasa geotech? So for example, a clay soil with a high liquid limit o plasticity index may not support heavy structures without proper treatment because it tends to swell when wet and shrink when dry. So, of course, kung basa ra siya, mo kuan gid iya mo siyang mahimong clay if mauga na dayon kay di kuan man na ninyo nga mo siyang ma-compress bitaw. Marami ta mo gahi mo mug sandcastle pero pag inyo di kanang ikumot bitaw para mauga kay mas grabe iyang compression kibali. So understanding these index properties helps engineers decide whether a soil is suitable for construction as is or if it requires improvement, stabilization, or specific foundation system. So while ang kanang properties is dili gini siya ga-solve og mga geotechnical problems directly, so ginaguide ra kibali sila ginaguide ra kibali nila ang engineers in selecting the right tools, methods, o of course precautions sa pag to ensure safe and efficient design. So, unsa man nga mga or what kind of soil are we dealing with? So, it is predominantly clay, silt, sand, o gravel. So, each type is ga-behave na sila differently under load and moisture. For instance, ang sandy soil ga-provide na sila kanang good drainage pero na sila lack nga cohesion, while ang clay is cohesive sila but can retain water and cause significant volume changes. So knowing the soil classification guides decisions on excavation methods, slope stability, o ang kind of foundation nga mo work best. So why is it important to know? Because before we can build anything, we need to know again, know what kind of soil we're dealing with, how it reacts to water. So kaning sa water is namogoy uban soils like gravel ug sand is ga-allow sila water to drain quickly, which reduce the risk of water build up and pressure beneath structure. So ang sa uban like clay, gaten na sila og absorb water to hold onto it, making the soil softer and weaker under load. Nga kani nga behavior is directly maapektuhan ko ang mga foundations nga kailangan i-design, especially sa flood-prone or rainy areas. And then how it changes with moisture, or how does the soil change with moisture content? So ang soil is ga-expand is like ga-contract or ga-change iyahang consistency depending on how wet or dry they are. So a dry clay might be hard and stable, but once saturated gani, it can become plastic and deform easily. So understanding these moisture dependent nga mga behaviors is makatabang na siya sa engineers nga mag-anticipate sa problems like swelling, shrinking, or softening, which can lead to cracks or differential settlement in buildings. And next is how coarse or fine it is. So ang grain size is maka-apekto gina siya sa tanan from drainage to compaction. Kaya ang coarse grain soils like sands o gravels generally more permeable o easier to compact. While ang fine grained soils is like mga silts o clays is retain water and are more compressible. Kibali, ang gradation of particles such as well-graded versus mga poorly graded no also plays a role in strength o stability. And then whether it shrinks, swells, or stays stable. So kani siya crucial gyud po ni siya for long-term nga performance. Kaya ang expansive soils which swell when wet and shrink when dry pose significant risk to foundations, pavements, and other structures. On the other hand, naiuban soils nga remain relatively stable under varying moisture conditions, providing a safer base for construction. So understanding these tendencies is makatabang gina siya sa mga engineers nga mo take og proactive measures like soil treatment, reinforcement, or choosing deep foundations to ensure nga ang structure is mo remain safe and serviceable. So mo ni ang ano sa kibali diagram sa index properties. So soil aggregate properties and soil grain properties. Under soil grain properties is specific gravity, shape, and size. And under soil aggregate properties, diha ang mga fine aggregates, coarse aggregates. And then sa fine aggregates is diha ang mga water content, consistency limits, mga limits. And then for the coarse aggregates is under ana is relative density and density or density index. So dito sa soil grain properties. So soil grain properties refer to the physical characteristics of individual soil particles, including their size, shape, and specific gravity. And these properties are used to classify the soil and understand how it will behave during construction. Activities like compaction, excavation, or foundation loading. So unlike properties nga describe how soils behaves as a mass like plasticity or compressibility, grain properties focus on the particles themselves, which are particles especially important in coarse grain soils like sand or gravel. So again, under the soil grain properties or example for it is the specific gravity. So sa specific gravity is muna siya ang ratio sa weight of soil solids to the weight of an equal volume of water. So it helps in calculating other soil parameters like void ratio o porosity. Sa shape, so soil grains can be granular, angular, rounded o well-rounded. So ang angular particles kibali ga interlock better but lisod kay siya i-compact. While ang rounded particles is easier to compact but may slip. And then there is a size refers to the diameter of the particles, often classified as gravel, sand, silt, or clay. And it is measured using sieve analysis. Na ano na ninyo sa inyuhang CMPM? Kibali, ang sieve analysis is for the coarse aggregates or hydrometer test for fine aggregates. So kani nga properties sa soil grain properties are used for soil classification and to predict how easily a soil can be compacted or sheared. Now for the soil aggregate properties. So soil aggregate properties refer to the behavior and characteristics of a group or mass of soil particles acting together, especially when influenced by moisture. So kaning nga properties go beyond the individual soil grains and describe how soil behaves as a whole. So particularly in response to changes in water content, compaction, and load. So in simpler terms, class, if ang soil grain properties is about mga individual soil particles, then ang soil aggregate properties is how those particles interact together. So like, murag kanang how a crowd or mga tao nga ga-behave compared sa isa ka tao nga na kibali. So under soil aggregate properties na ay duha ka buok type. Fine o coarse. There is a fine aggregate properties common in, again, sa clays o silts. Kani sila nga properties of fine-grained soils which are more sensitive to water. So example is water content. Ang amount of moisture in the soil, it affects consistency, strength, o compaction. So ang consistency limits or kaning Atterberg limits, ga-include din siya liquid limit. Ang liquid limit is meaning when ang soil niya is behaves like a liquid. Plastic limits when soil starts behaving plastically. And shrinkage limit when the point where further drying doesn't reduce volume. So these limits help determine if the soil is like to crack, swell, or flow. And then another one po sa consistency limit is the plasticity index. So kakuha naman mo ng plasticity index, which often indicates more clay content o greater nga volume change sa moisture. And another type of soil aggregate then is ang coarse aggregate properties, which is common in sands and gravels. So these are properties of coarse-grained soils which don't exhibit plasticity but are very sensitive to compaction and density. Example is the relative density or density index. So this describes how dense or loose a granular soil is in its natural state. So high relative density is equal to well compacted and stable. Low relative density is equivalent to loose and more prone to settlement. So it's a key factor in determining shear strength and load bearing capacity. Okay? Dirita. In situ stresses. So basically, in situ stresses are the natural stresses. Ay, by the way, paspas ako class. Kapas siya mo. Let me know, ha? Okay. So in situ stresses are the natural stresses that exist within the ground before any excavation, drilling, or construction takes place. So they are the original undisturbed stresses state of the soil or rock mass caused by its own weight and geological history such as tectonic movements, sedimentation, and erosion. Okay, so ang situ stresses muna siyang natural pressures already present sa ground before before ang mga tao mo start og dig, drill, or build. So kani nga pressures come mainly from the weight of the soil or rock above, bali overburden, and from natural forces over time. So like movements sa Earth's plate, layers of soil being deposited, erosion, or past loads. So they're basically the background pressure. So ang Earth is carrying in its undisturbed state, knowing this stress is important for engineers because once mag-excavate na, mag-add na din of loads or change water levels, we disturb this balance. So if we dili na to ni consider nga kaning mga stresses sa atong design, then the ground could move, settle, or even fail. So, tulo ka types of in-situ stresses. So, overburden or vertical stress, horizontal stress, and shear stress. So, there is a vertical stress in soil or overburden nga soil. Vertical stress is the pressure acting downward in the soil, usually caused by the weight of the overlying material. Again, overburden and any applied loads from structures. So, kibali vertical stress, paubos siya. Gravity kibali. And for the horizontal stress in soil, ga-act na siya sideways within the soil mass. And these are important for retaining wall design, tunnel stability, o slope stability. So, active o passive earth pressure are examples of horizontal stresses. So, I think una ta dir sa overburden stress. And lastly is the shear stress in soil. So, it is the sliding force per unit area acting along a plane within the soil. So, it is the stress responsible for soil deformation and possible failure. So, kaning tulong in situ stresses is also called the effective stresses. So, dito sa overburden or vertical stress. So, tulo ka concept. So, sa first concept is ang iyang groundwater table is nasa in between kibali sa ground surface niya. Muna yung ground surface kibali. So, saturated unit weight, effective unit weight, or buoyant unit weight. So, di ba mo man ang formula sa to ang saturated unit weight. Kailangan nimo siya makuha para makuha nimo ang iyahang unit weight, ang saturated unit weight to get the total stress at A. So basically no sa board exam mostly recently lang pod sa April and sa November mostly is ang ginapangita ana niya is ang effective stress, total stress, and its pore water pressure. So basically sayo na siya class. Siguro kung ako yung pautanon kung ansay sayon sa HPGE kanang sa board exam kanagin siguro. So mo ni H1 no H2 dayon. So basically kuan lugar ni since naman atong groundwater table dire so magdepende din na sa given. So na dire ang wide dry or dry unit weight and then saturated unit weight. So for the formula sa total stress at A, point A kibali dire. So y dry times the height. So basically dry unit weight sa dry unit weight niya times the height or kanang ang kabaga kibali sa iyang dry unit weight sa iyang soil plus saturated unit weight times the height. Mo na ang total stress. So basically, if nagani dire as a point kibali, ang imuhang ang total stress, tanan stress kibali. So kung unsa tong naka-separate kibali so kung let's say tulo lugar kabuk na pa isa ka linya dire. So let's say y sat dire, then dire sa middle is unit sabi kanang clay, and then dire is dry. So of course kung total stress kanang tulo imuhang i-compute. For the effective stress na siya total stress minus pore water pressure. For the pore water pressure wala na ko nakuha dire na ano din na nabutang ang formula. But ang concept ana niya sa pore water pressure is unit weight sa water, di ba ang unit weight sa water is 9.81 multiplied by height nga under sa iyang groundwater table. So kung pwede ka ni mga pore water pressure niya ani, then of course y sat wala na yung y sat unit weight man ta sa water. So kung kuha ng pore water pressure ani, so of course unit weight sa water which is 9.81 multiplied by the height. Kana ra. Basta kay for example Sige lang, basta ato lang na ikuan. Basta kay, mo ni ang sa first concept. Napamatay sa concept. So, diyan na ako explain din further. So, sa second concept is ang ground surface kibali is nasa ubos sa iyang groundwater table. So, muna nadiri ang groundwater table, nadiri ang imong ground surface. So, basically ang first ug second is nagbaylo ang imong ground surface o groundwater table. So, sa second concept is mo kibali ni ang water, of course, kay naman sa mas taas pa man ang imong groundwater table kasi imong ground surface. So, mo na water and then actually magdepende ra siya sa problem and then iguro na nimo i-drawing and understand, of course. So, diri then is saturated unit weight. So, kibali. So, ang total stress niya at point A is unit weight of the water times the height. Unit weight sa water times height niya plus saturated unit weight times the height. Again, since total stress man, of course, if nagay mga kuan diri, again, magbutang kog linya lugar diri, y-sat lugar ni nya. Clay tapos water. Since total stress man, so of course, tanan stresses. Where water times height H1 nya, di ba? Naghati man ko diri isa ka line. So clay man ni. So of course, total stress man again, total stress apil ka po ni plus unit weight sa imong clay times iyang height, and then of course saturated unit weight times height. And pore water pressure or neutral stress is unit weight sa water, which is 9.81 times H1 plus H2. So, since again, no, ang imuhang groundwater table is naman diri. So, of course, below that nga mga soil is mo imuhang multiply. So, since naman diri mong groundwater table, so of course, 9 unit weight sa water, which is 9.81 times height sa water o plus height sa saturated unit weight. So basically, imo ra bitaw siya i-multiply nga kanang total height na lang kibali. So kung diri lugar, na diri mong groundwater table, so of course, below ana is kuan, mo ang i-multiply. Diri sa second concept kibali, adili atong ikuan ani ang pore water ha. Gusto na ko masabtan ninyo ang pore water pressure sa on pag-solve. So diri sa yung second concept is mas taas, di ba, ang groundwater table. So yung pore water pressure is unit weight sa water times the total height na lang from dire padulong sa point A, kung asa nga point ang ginapangita sa problem. And then effective stress is total stress minus pore water pressure. So kanin sa diri sa formula, no, ako ra siyang kuan kibali y sat times height minus unit weight sa water times H2 gyapon. Basta basically, if masolve na nimo ang total stress niya o iyang pore water pressure, then of course, pwede na gid nimo i-minus ang iyang kwan to get the effective stress. And for the third concept is ang iyang ground surface is iyang groundwater table is napud sa iyang ground surface. So total stress at point A is saturated unit weight times H1 plus H2. For the pore water pressure, again, mura gihapon, since naman diri mong groundwater table, i-multiply ra nimo siya sa total height. Kung asa nga point ang ginapangita. Then of course, again, effective stress, if masolve na nimong total stress and the pore water pressure, then you can subtract it to get the effective stress. So, I was planning to have an example karon pero 30 minutes na lang and mag-prepare pa ko kay mas prefer na ako isulat manggod. Mas prefer na ako isulat, so like lobat ang tablet pa. So, since napaman tomorrow, we'll continue this topic tomorrow and purely on kung ano gid ta problem solving practice. Para like gusto na ko lahi nga anong kibali gusto na ko lahi nga type of problem para masabtan ninyo. Dili siya one same problem lang siya kibali. Okay? So any questions, clarifications, or violent reactions? Simpas-pas ra ko. Yes.
Evening, ma'am. Kaning mag-aslam face-to-face o more online lang yapon.
Again, no, since wala pa'y dorm classroom kay gimiting pa po na namo last time, pero ko kaapas kay na busy ko kay regarding sa plano. So like, wala ko kaapas, pero again, since wala pa may mga chairs good, dili pa siya paggamitan. Basta kay mag-inform ako kung when ta mag face-to-face. So, since di pa magamit ang dorm classroom, so of course, online lang sa kita tomorrow. Okay? No probs. Other questions, clarifications? Isa pa. Walas na? Okay, none. So, kindly open your camera. Ay, alagi. Tomorrow na lang ako i-ano regarding